Hey, Shalom, Makiyan, Shalom, Kal Halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakahakodash, on this in double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you, Akim, out there pushing the word of sincerity and truth. This is the brother Ariala, and, I want to talk about culture of structure within the camps, a culture of structure within the camps. I want to talk about some key points to look for maintaining a level of belief and a level of unity within the camps. Right now we're definitely in a house cleaning period, and there's certain things that are unacceptable when you want to cultivate structure and growth and edification within your particular camp and within an organization overall. And so I want to talk about four key points that we look for, four key points that the scriptures kind of mention and talk about. When you read the letters to the churches, these were situations and issues that were consistently brought up anytime that there was problems. And definitely because we're in this flesh, there are going to be things that pop up, things that happen, and they're going to have to be dealt with. So the first key point that I want to talk about, and you brothers can write this down, is removing ego. All right, removing ego, building unity by making sure that we remove a personal ego that we may carry, when building and keeping unity within the camp. 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 2 says, if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing yet as he ought to know. But if any man love the Most High, the same is known of him. And so, as we gain knowledge and information and we come into the spirit of truth, because we're coming from such broken situations, pride and egotism and can rise up. And we have to always maintain a level of humility as we increase in the faith. Because what happens after that is then you start to have evil surmisings and just thoughts of wanting to commend yourself, and just getting puffed up, when staying humble is key. Scripture says, even on the back end of 1 Corinthians 8:1, knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth. But whenever we start to have pride, then those evil surmisings kind of come in there, Proverbs 16:18, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. And what happens whenever we have pride? We become unwilling to listen to counsel, unwilling to listen to perspective, perspective that's outside of what we might personally want or what we might personally do. We won't listen to it. We won't take heed. And then because of that pride, because of that ego, it leads to destructive behaviors. And now when everything is beginning to burn all around you, now we want to backtrack. Well, it doesn't work that way, man. For the sake of the house, for the sake of the ministry, people that have ridiculous pride or egotistical issues, narcissistic issues, where everything has to center around their sentiment, feelings, and perspective, people that have that don't tend to make it. In Sirach 32:21, it says, Sirach 32:18, a man of counsel will be considerate, but a strange and proud man is not daunted with fear, even when of himself he have done without counsel. Do nothing without advice, and when thou hast done, repent not. Go not in a way wherein thou mayest fall, and stumble not among the stones. Be not confident in a plain way. Be not confident in a plain way. And being confident in a plain way comes from having a puffed up ego, a puffed up mindset. Okay? And it ought not be so, man. So those things have to be removed. Okay? Those things have to be removed. Proverbs 16:28 says, a froward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separateth chief friends. So this goes into the second thing that I want to talk about. The first one was removing ego. When we come into this thing, we understand that we are part of something. It's not all about us and what we feel and think and want. We're part of a body. All right? So, yeah, we're seeking out our own salvation, but we're still fitting into a framework. All right? The second thing that causes strife within an organization and keeps and frustrates a structure of a culture of structure or a culture of edification is gossiping, whispering. And this right now is a big issue. Great Millstone has become a very large organization. There's a lot of cross-camp relationships. And so what happens when you have an issue with one brother's upset about something and he's going to another camp complaining about this, and then this person that he went to go complain to it interprets it one way, and then that person tells it to another person that's in his camp, and they say, hey man, did this and this and this and that. And so one thing that was said that was meant to be this way in this energy, you done took it that negative and you done passed it that negative to a whole nother camp, and it's been interpreted in another way, and two different perspectives are there, and it festers and grows into a huge problem. That's why gossip and whispers and backbiting, people like that have to be removed. Have to be removed. Okay, verse 29 says, a violent man enticeth his neighbor and leadeth him in a way that is not good. All right? And we see these things with men in the camps, man, top to bottom. And it's a problem. And it's something that within the letters to the churches, Paul had to address. And of course, we're going to have that issue now. Well, gossiping and doing all that talebearing and whispering, and it should not and will not be tolerated. All right? Proverbs 11:13 says, a talebearer revealeth secrets, but he that is of a faithful spirit concealeth the matter. All right? And so this is what happens, man, when a talebearer is going here, going there, causing strife. All right? Causing brothers to come up against each other or think a certain way. Words mean things, and words definitely can be weapons. And if someone is using their words to create division and strife within the church, they need to be removed. That's why the scripture says, mark them which cause divisions. Okay? You got to remove that person. Okay? 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 13 says, but rejoice inasmuch as ye are partakers of Hamashiach's suffering, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. If ye be reproached for the name of Hamashiach, happy are ye, for the spirit of glory and of the Most High resteth upon you. On their part, he is evil spoken of, but on your part, he is glorified. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's affairs. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify the Most High on his behalf. A lot of brothers receive persecution because of being evildoers and busybodies. And then they want to cry and complain and act like a victim. When it was you running around causing strife, when it was you running around causing division and problems, and now when the heat is coming to you, see, sometimes you can be right about something, but the way you manage and handle it, if you handle and manage it wickedly, and you going around being a busybody and gossiping and talebearing and being a jerk, you might have been right about a couple of some of your points, but because you handled it like an evildoer, and now you're suffering, now you wrong too, or you even more wrong. And the Most High and the Spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua is always going to vet that out. So we have to check ourselves from being in that spirit, man. You gotta make sure you're edifying with your tongue. You gotta make sure you're edifying with your words. This is a part of a culture of structure and edification. All right, removing your own pride and removing the sense of gossip, talebearing, whispering. Going here and there talking. You heads of camps going around talking too damn much, being too familiar with the younger brothers. Things you might say affect that young brother. Even I have to learn that. We have to learn that, man. I can't be and have the same similar type of conversation that I would with a brother of tenure, so to speak, an officer. And just, you might be chilling, just talking, speaking on a matter kind of like, passingly. You're not really, that you haven't made your mind up about a situation. You might speak something, you might make a joke about it. And the young brother take it and run with it. He's listening to every single word you say. Okay? And then young brothers, well, you too damn nosy sometimes. You want to be in the business that you shouldn't be in. You need to just stay in your lane. And you act like, and a lot of because of the word is going out, a lot of this knowledge has been spoon fed to brothers, there's a spoiled mentality. You know, like someone's supposed to answer to you. This is an honor. This is a gift. This is a privilege to be a part of this body, man. We have to maintain a spirit of humility and a spirit of grace. Here in 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter and 11th verse, it says, and that ye study to be quiet and to do your own business and to work with your own hands as we commanded you, that ye may walk honestly toward them that are without, and that ye may have lack of nothing. Okay? We have to be mindful of what type of energy that we bring in, man. Stay in our lane and maintain what? The culture of structure. A culture of structure. But if you're running around talking a whole bunch of noise, puffing yourself up, it creates strife and problems and divisions. Okay? 2 Corinthians 12 and 19 says, again, think ye that we excuse ourselves unto you? We speak before the Most High in Hamashiach. We do all things, dearly beloved, for your edifying. For I fear lest when I come I shall find you such as I would, and that I shall be found unto you such as ye would not. Lest there be debates, envyings, wraths, strifes, backbiting, whispering, swellings, tumults. See, when you got egos flying around, you got disorder with gossip, these type of things come up. Debates and envyings and wraths and strifes. We have to be mindful of that. Verse 21 says, at least when I come again, my power will humble me among you, and that I shall be well many which have sinned already, and have not repented of the uncleanness and fornication and lasciviousness which they have committed. So then you have to come and later, then the whip has to be cracked, so to speak, because of disorderly conduct that's happening within the church. You know? But then when that happens, everybody gets all butthurt and they wanna act like they, oh no, I mean, I didn't do nothing. I just this and that. You know? It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. All right. So that's the second thing to watch out for: gossip and talebearing, whispering. All right. The third thing, submission to the mission, subjection to order and rank and authority. There's order and rank and rule isn't meant to downplay someone. It's meant to maintain proper communication and proper partnerships within the organization and group. It's very, very vital. The point of rank is not to lord over anyone. It's so that communication can be directed in the right type of way. You know where and when to talk and to do with who. The reason why the camp heads are established, officers are established, and then you have men underneath them is so people know who and where to go to, and so that there's no confusion and destruction within the body. All right. But what happens is brothers start to learn some scriptures and they have a certain level of knowledge and they don't really understand that the mission is bigger than them, and they get puffed up and they want to do their own thing. Well, you can go do your own thing. You just won't be a part of Great Millstone. Okay? 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 8 says, for though I should boast somewhat more of our authority, which the Lord had given us for edification, and not for your destruction, I should not be ashamed, that I may not seem as if I would terrify you with letters. For his letters, they say, are weighty and powerful, but his bodily presence is weak, and his speech contemptible. Let such as one think this, that such as we are in word by letters, when we are absent, such will we be also indeed when we are present. So when I'm writing these letters, when you see me, I'm gonna be the same way. You know, my character and everything like that. Okay, for we dare not make ourselves of the number or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but they measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves among themselves are not wise. But we will not boast of things without our measure, but according to the measure of the rule of the Most High have distributed to us a measure to reach even unto you. So we not coming and boasting about some rank that we done built up on ourselves for no reason. Things were put in place and a measure was given through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Why? So they can so the word can be reached out to the rest of the churches. So brothers, yeah, Kwan and oh yeah, double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. What does that mean? It's not just to slap somebody on the ass and say good job for teaching the word. It's meant because the Most High set men up for what? Communication, order, edification overall. But when those ties and lines are broken, and you have young brothers that they want to be the head of the camp, and they want to do what they want to do, they ain't listening to nobody. Then you got heads of camps taking things that shouldn't be going to young brothers, and they all out out of line. Now things are getting there's mixed messages going around. It causes what? Chaos. We lose a culture of structure and edification when it happens. We don't have rank just to lord over each other. Okay? Verse 14 says, For we stretch not ourselves beyond our measure, as though we reach not unto you. For we are come as far as to you also in preaching the gospel of Hamashiach, not boasting of things without our measure, that is, of other men's labor, but having hope when your faith is increased, that we shall be enlarged by you according to our rule abundantly. Okay? So things are set up and authorities given in certain positions to make sure that the gospel is going out and people are built up. Not just say, hey, you need to do this, hey, you need to do that, just because. No, man. These things are needful so that the spirit can flow. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17 says, Obey them that have the rule over you and subject yourselves, for they watch over your souls, as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. And when men are out of order and they just want to do their own thing, there's no semblance of humility and obedience. I'm not no man pleaser. You got daddy issues, and so you can't take authority from men. You make it to where it's unprofitable because brothers don't have joy when they come to you and looking over your soul. Brothers is like when the situation comes down and your name comes up, it's just like, here we go. This guy. It's ridiculous. Things ought not be so. Things ought not be so, man. We have to make sure that we understand and we're subjecting ourselves. We have submission to the mission. We are subject to where we are, our rank, our order and file, so that things can move forward. We're under the rule, subject. We're under the rule of what Yahweh Shem Yahushua set up. And sometimes you might not like the person that's the head of your camp. You might not like the person that might be an officer over you. It's not about your likes. It's about your responsibility over your feelings. And if something's wrong and if something needs to be corrected, you have to trust in the spirit that the Most High is going to correct it. But when you're trying to force the course of the river and you got this contrarian spirit and you're trying to force your energy on a situation, it's not going to do anything but cause a fire and a flame. And usually you will get burned. You will get burned. Okay? 1 Peter 5:1, the elders which are among you I exhort, who am also an elder and a witness to the sufferings of Hamashiach, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed. Feed the flock of the Most High which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. We have to have a mindset as an elder, as a person that's been given authority over a group of people, to just have a charitable heart. Because brothers are going to come in all different types of spirits. And brothers gonna have, there's gonna be situations where it gets on your nerves, and there's a certain responsibility with being an elder where you feel looked at and watched, and you just want to be relaxed. You just want to relax, you know. And I feel like everything you do is you're walking on eggshells. I felt that way before, but hey, you want to do this thing willingly, not by constraint, because when you do it by constraint, you're offended in your heart. The spirit ain't dealing with you. There's no spirit of grace. There's no spirit of charity. So there's no spirit of increase. If you're put in a position as an elder or a head or an officer of the camp, you want to stay in that willing spirit. Okay? Verse 3 says, neither as being lords over the Most High's heritage, but being examples unto the flock. We talk about, not pushing something on somebody that you wouldn't do yourself. And you do it through example. Brothers in our camp, we had years and years and years of serving. We picked the signs up first. Now somebody else picks up the signs. We held the camera first. Now somebody else holds the camera. We were the readers first, and we still are, but you know what I mean? And it's passed down on and on and on. We taught every single class. We picked up this brother when he needed a ride. So now other people go and do it. You know what I mean? We went and got the food. So now now other people get the food. You do it by example. And willingly. You ain't got no mind towards it. You just want to help. You just want to build. Well, you have to maintain that spirit. And as you grow in the spirit, your office changes. What you need to do for the camp changes. And you flow with it. Okay? Verse 5 says, likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. Yea, all of you be subject to one another, and being clothed with humility. For the Most High resisteth the proud, and giveth grace to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of the Most High, that he may exalt you in due time. And what happens when there's a lack of humility, and we talked about this first, man, you can't be subject, you can't submit to the mission, you can't be subject to one another if you got a prideful mindset of I ain't gonna listen. And this goes for the elders and for the younger brothers. We all have to be subject to the position and place that Yahweh Shem Yahushua has put us, so everything can flow. But when things are out of order, communication drops off, and when communication drops off, we lose the culture of structure and edification. So we have to watch out for that. We have to remain in the spirit of humility and of subjection to where we are. Okay? All right, and I think it's very important when we see verse 8. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. So he can use these instances of pride. He can use those instances of being puffed up as opportunities to create divisions within the church. And now, because of offense, brothers are going at each other, and it's creating a situation where edification is not there. Instead of building, destruction is happening. We have to watch out for that. Okay? And I can go on, but I think the point is made. I think the point has been made on that right there. Okay? The last thing. So the first one we talked about is removing ego or pride. No gossiping, whispering, or tale-bearing is number 2. Number 3 is submission to one another. The elders have to submit to a way, just like the younger men have to submit to a way. Right? And number 4 is a big one. Number 4 is lack of forgiveness. We have to be mindful. We have to keep a mindset of forgiveness, right? Because when we lack forgiveness and it removes charity, bro, things can get haywire quick. Holding grudges and being offended and staying in a state of offense, you will never maintain a culture of structure, a culture of edification with that type of spirit. Never. And one of the things that was said is it's not the presence of strife that's the issue. It's the lack of forgiveness that's the issue. Here in Colossians, the 3rd chapter, in the 13th verse, it says, forbearing one another and forgiving one another, if any man have a quarrel against any, Sorry about that. Colossians 3:13 says, forbearing one another and forgiving one another, if any man have a quarrel against any, even as Hamashiach forgave you, so also do ye. All right? And above all these things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. See, forgiving someone and releasing that grudge or offense that you might have towards a brother that did something, when if he truly is repentant of it, you know, allows you to maintain that agape love, which is charity. Okay? And when you have a charitable heart and you can give freely, the Most High will continue to fill your cup. Your cup will runneth over with the Spirit of the Lord. But when you are offended, the Most High will not continue to pour into that cup, and you will become dry, dehydrated. Okay? We all are in this flesh, and we all are going to have faults. We all are going to have things that are just like dirtiness. But the spirit of grace must rest amongst the body, and forgiveness is key, so that we can move and flow with each other. It's like oil in a cog and wheels. As those wheels come against each other and have friction on each other, that oil of forgiveness keeps it moving. Matthew 6:14 says, for if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive you. You have brothers that will hold on to a trespass for years, just grumpy, angry, and it builds and builds and builds and explodes. And now we in the council, and we in here listening to, and we like, damn, this brother mad as hell. When did this happen? I remember, man, in 2019, man, he didn't pick me up, man. He didn't pick me up. I needed a ride. Well, he did this or he did that. And we're like, yo, geez, Louise, brother. Let it go. For yourself, let it go. For your own spirit, let it go. You know, you gotta, sometimes situations, man, if you can learn how to just have tenderness in your heart. Everybody wants to be so hardcore and stand up, and it all goes back to ego. It all goes back to pride. And if you release it with a humble spirit, and a lot of times all four of these different points I'm making, they fold on each other. Because of lack of forgiveness, you start to gossip. Because of the gossip, you can't submit. You can't be subject to one another. We're not subject to one another because we have ego issues. And vice versa. All of these things are necessary to maintain a culture of structure and edification. Okay? The scriptures talk about not letting the sun go down on your wrath. Brothers done let the sun go down for 2 years on their wrath. Like, damn. How long you still gonna be mad at that, man? Ephesians, the 4th chapter. Verse 29 says, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of the Most High, whereby ye are sealed unto the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. Be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as the Most High, for Hamashiach's sake, have forgiven you. Yahweh Shai had to forgive us. He had to put off the trespasses and the wrongdoings that was done to him in order to get the mission done. You are going to come into that same type of situation amongst the brothers. But if you can't let it go, the Most High will remove you from the body. And if you causing strife and you're offending the little ones because of the hardness in your heart, the Most High will remove you from the body. And here is where the spirit of judgment lies, protection. This is a very, very precious thing. So, man, those 4 things I want brothers to meditate on as far as a culture of structure and edification. 1, remove ego. 2, end gossiping. 3, a heart of subjection or submission to the mission. And 4, Lack of forgiveness. We want to keep a forgiving heart. Call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakah HaKodash. Lord willing, that was edifying. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you. I came out there pushing the words of sincerity and truth. Shalom.